We have had such powerful information. We've had technology, wanting to have its own say. We can say that technology was haywire, but I just like to think of it as, it wanted to participate too. It's an inclusive event. The technology was like, I'm here. Let me let y'all know. Um, I'm going to open up with a quote real quick, and then I want some reactions from the day from y'all. And then hopefully, one of my colleagues will be joining us to close out fully. All right. So I was looking at quotes from Audre Lorde, and this quote says, "Without community, there is no liberation. Only the most vulnerable and temporary armistice between an individual and her oppression. But community must not mean a shedding of our differences, nor the pathetic pretense that these differences do not exist." I love that. Without community, there is no liberation. Hey, Trish. Hey, Trish. I'm going to read that one more time. Without community, there is no liberation. Only the most vulnerable and temporary armistice between an individual and her oppression. But community must not mean a shedding of our differences, nor the pathetic pretense that these differences do not exist. Ooh, I'll let y'all sit with that for a second. Hi, Trish. I get to see your face.
Okay.
When I read that, one of the things that comes up for me is, I think we rush to be like, we're human, and to look at the similarity, um and in doing so, like negating all the things that make us different and colorful and unique and whatnot, and that I can't have liberation without having you and all of your fullness and all of your differences and all of that together. And that's my takeaway from that quote. Does it say anything in particular to you, Trish?
It does. I mean, I feel like the theme of the past several weeks, um, past several years has been about really promoting this scarcity mindset, right? That my life depends on your death. Um, and the voices around that have been very loud, right? The
Mm-hmm,
misinformation around that has been very loud. Um, and, um, the thing I've been holding all day is just like, we have to be louder. We know better, right?
mm-hmm,
We know that our life not only does it not box each other out, but it actually depends on each other, that interdependence that you're talking about. And so that's been the big takeaway for me all day. And I think that poem really brings it home that we have to be louder than these messages around scarcity and around death. Like we really have to be leaning into practices, relationships, our knowing that is life affirming.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you for that. I want to, as me and Trish are going to talk to y'all about something for a second, but I want people to put some things in the chat. What are some of your takeaways for the day? And then we'll come back to that, okay? So yeah, what are some of your takeaways from the day? What are some things that stood out for you? Some nuggets that you're going to take home and continue to grapple with, or that will give you life. So I'm Kyrie Wigington. I'm the Special Projects Manager for the Center for Third World Organizing. It has been a delightful day, and as we come to an end of this first day of Living Liberation 2.0 or 2023, I'm joined with my colleague Trish Adebiatune. Did I say it right? I always get excited because I don't want to mess up your name. And Trish is a part of the Liberatory Leadership Partnership, which is a partnership that C2 sits inside of. And so I just wanted to bring you on to say some words. Why liberatory leadership? Why today? Why this moment? All of that.
Yeah, I mean, as Karishi mentioned, I have the privilege. I mean, my primary role is that I'm Karishi Wigington's biggest fan, champion, hype woman. Uh, and then on the side, I work with the Liberatory Leadership Partnership. I'm the Senior Director of Leadership Research and Practice at the Robert Sterling Clark Foundation. Um, I'm an auntie. I am a proud Brooklynite. I am a
Mm,
beach stan. I'm many things. I'm a first generation Ghanaian American. Um, but the Liberatory Leadership Partnership, um, it developed out of many of the conversations that I heard us in today, right? I think many of us were finding ourselves or really leaning into our role as leaders in whatever spaces that we were in, whether we were running organizations, whether we were active in movement, whether we were working in foundations, wherever we were recognizing our leadership and we're being invited to think about equity, right, as like um, the deepest or the highest vision for what we could sort of expect for ourselves and our movements, right? That we could sort of gain control of existing systems, right? And you know, just better use those resources. And I think many of us were just feeling the limitations of that, right? Like we
yeah.
don't. One of our partners, Erica Stallings from the Leadership Learning Community, always quotes civil rights. I always forget the person who said this, but we're not interested in integration into a burning building, right? We want to imagine new spaces for ourselves. We want to imagine a world of wholeness. We want to imagine something beyond the current systems that we're in that cause this sort of focus on death and division. And so we want to see our organizations as places to really practice that, right, and to live into that fullness. So the Liberatory Leadership Partnership was formed to name that, right, to name that, to create a frame around it, to create practice space around it, and to bring the folks together who we know believe in that. And that's why we have things like the Praxis program that C2 that you have been running for the past several years. That's why we have things like the communities of practice that are hosted by the leadership learning community. That's why we have things like the Resourcing Liberatory Leadership Circle that Robert Sterling Clark Foundation helps to host. And it's why we have this conference. It's why we're lucky enough to have this conference, which invites in the widest number of people that we can reach who are interested in not just the idea of liberation, but the practice of it.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Trish. Ooh, so eloquently said. One of the things I want to hold is that we can't do this by ourselves, right? Like that we have to. It's really going to take us. They say when it takes that it takes a village, but that's not just in relationship to raising children, but it's building community. It's taking care of one another, and it's going to take us all to really and reimagine the kind of world that we want to be in. And that's why this space. That's why the space. That's why us. Um, and it's not going to come like it's not going to happen on our behalf, right? Right? Like it's going to take the deep work and us, one of the things I like to say to my praxis folks is how do we live our values? How do we be the people that we want to that reflect the world that we want to create, right? And so that I'm not just doing this great work in the world and I'm known in the world, but like, what are the people around me saying? What are their relationships like, right? Like, how do I talk to people? How do I move? How do like what is that look like? Because what it should be happening is they should match, right? Um, if I'm really living my values, they should match and they should be evolving. Um, so Juana says in the chat, thank you for this, Juana. Juana says, one of the things that she got from today was spiritual practice is powerful and should be a central component of our movement work, reconnecting and healing relationship to spirit. That's right. That's right. That's right. To me, spirit, this is just Kairishi. Spirit should be central to everything that we're doing. And one of the things that I've heard people saying all throughout the day, is that it's all interconnected. So even our movements are interconnected. So even when we're thinking about doing movement work, it shouldn't be so siloed, because everything that you're doing impacts what I'm doing, impacts what we're doing. Any other things y'all got from today? Any other takeaways? Great nuggets? Were you able to join the first panel, Trish? Oh, that
It
was fire.
was. I have like, look, I have a whole document here just of quotes from today. Like, it's awkward how long this list is. Just there's just so much wisdom, and the thing that I just keep coming back to is again, this so something that Prentice said, like right out the gate, was, people are dying all over the world. We have to live and promote life, right? Like he said it out the gate. And that theme just kept being echoed and echoed and echoed all throughout the day. Like we know how to be human with each other. We know how to love each other, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
getting there's a lot of, I said this before, there's a lot of volume around this idea that, if left to our own devices, the choice that we'll make is to cancel each other, to combat each other. But I know many of us are coming right from there were a lot of beautiful sessions in this last block. I came out of the Spirit Work session that's about building liberatory spaces, and the reminder in that space was that we know how to do this, right? There are instructions, right? There are those of us who have taken that to, this like highest level, like the folks at Spirit Works, and are actually building retreat spaces around it. They have curriculum around it. They're training others around it. But so much of what they were teaching us about was like tapping into our knowing,
Mm-hmm.
like we know that who we are internally is who we are interpersonally, is who we are institutionally. We know this, right? And so, liberatory leadership is about operationalizing liberatory vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I just heard it all day, just these instructions, right? Go back and look at the recordings, just instructions on how to promote life, right? How to be our most human selves with each other. And yeah, it's been a really incredible day. I'm excited for tomorrow. So
So
yeah.
true. During the environmental justice panel, Shane Bernardo said something to the effect of, by gardening, he was able to work through his grief, but he was also able to connect to his ancestors, and that he could learn. He realized recipes, like recipes from his childhood, just by working in the dirt and with the food, because his father had been working in the dirt and with the food, right, and all of that. What it was basically like planted in there, and if we're tapping in, then we're able to like, I mean, essentially the dirt is like a metaphor for like what you're saying, what they said in Spirit Works about tapping in, that it's all in there, that we already know. If we listen, if we're able to listen to ourselves, if we're able to listen to the earth and all that is around us, all nature that is around us, it is there. Zakia, what you saying, Zakia? Zakia said, y'all can't see. Set the bar for future conferences for me. Okay, all right, Zakia, I heard that. I really appreciate that. And every time we have these conferences, I'm like, we have some real hitters in our circle. Like we have some fire. Like I knew this morning, I knew that the panel was going to be, I knew it was, but I didn't know that. Like what it actually was, I didn't know.
You're being really generous by saying we, Karishi. Like, I mean, I think folks have been in the different sessions. Every single person that is paneling today is like a close personal friend of Karishi, right? It's like, and so I really, I do want to take a moment to honor you and this web that you have woven of just like liberatory visionaries, liberatory practitioners, artists, creators, poets, facilitators, youth workers, funders. It has been you know, we're lucky. We're just lucky to have you as this incredible weaver in this space. So these are your people that are gathering
Thank,
today, and
thank
it's a beautiful community of people.
thank
Mhm.
you for that. There are a lot of my people, but I must big up Nikita. Nikita is the one who held down the first panel this morning. And Nikita, in addition to being my friend, is one of my like thought partners, right? And collaborators. And it's helpful because I'm a collaborative thinker. And so much of even like how this conference has taken shape this year and the sessions and many of even the people who are on panels have were they are also her offering too. So my folks, some other people's folks, but Nikita's folks as well, and I really appreciate her support for this. Y'all, tomorrow we got even more. And the great thing about this conference is we wanted to make sure that people could see it live. If folks missed today, they'll be able to go back and look at it later. But tell your folks, tell people if they had questions that they didn't know that this was the place to be. Let them know that Living Liberation is the place that they need to tap into, tune into tomorrow, because it's going to be even more powerful. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Any last words, Trish, before we cut out? I can't hear you. Oh, you love us all, Trish. Is that what you said? Holly said that's what you said.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. I was just saying, there's a poem that has been sitting with me all day, and I wondered if I could just close by sharing that poem.
Since you're going to do a poem, let me just shout out real quick. The team that is helping us put the conference on this year again is We and Goliath. I think y'all have received information and emails from them. They are these amazing group of folks that are not just values aligned, but they're so patient. It takes a lot to hold a person or a group from beginning to end. And it's a lot of clumsy. It's a lot of Kyrishi, like we need this like now, like yesterday, like give it to us. And they're always gracious and patient with me and loving. And they take such good care of our folks, and I just really appreciate them.
Yes to that. And Holly is correct. I was saying that I love you all. And so this poem is also a love letter. It's a just stay with me. It's a little bit long, but it's worth hearing all the way through. So just get comfortable, close your eyes, take a breath, and yeah, just be with the words. This poem is called Vahafta, and it's by Aurora Levins Morales. I'll drop it in the chat. Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out and when you return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. Inscribe them on your doorposts, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulders. Teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies. Recite them in your sleep. Here in the cruel shadow of empire, another world is possible.
Mm.
Thus spoke the prophet Rogue Dalton. Altogether, they have more death than we, but altogether, we have more life than they. There is more bloody death in their hands than we could ever wield unless we lay down our souls to become them, and then we will lose everything. So instead, imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning. The exact smell of the summer streets in which no one has been shot. The muscles you have never unclenched from worry gone soft as newborn skin. The sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry, that the beggars are fed, that the old man under the bridge and the woman wrapping herself in thin sheets in the back seat of a car, and the children who suck on stones, nest under a flock of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean with all your being towards that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds and justice rolls down like waters. Defend the world in which we win as if it were your child. It is your child. Defend it as if it were your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and when you exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more. Imagine rape is unimaginable. Imagine war is scarcely credible. Rumor that the crimes of our age, the grotesque inhumanities of greed, the sheer and astounding shamelessness of it, the vast fortunes made by stealing lives, the horrible normalcy it came to have is unimaginable to our heirs, the generations of the free. All right, so we're closing now. Don't waver. Don't let despair sink its sharp teeth into the throat with which you sing. Escalate your dreams. Make them burn so fiercely that you can follow them down any dark alleyway of history and not lose your way. Make them burn clear as starry drinking gourd over the grim fog of exhaustion and keep walking. Hold hands, share water, keep imagining so that we and the children of our children's children may live.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And what's her name?
I'll drop it in the chat. Her name is Aurora Levins Morales.
Thank you. Whew, it has been a wonderful day. It has been a rich day. It has been a full day. And we thank everybody who touched our virtual stages in our studio, all of the producers, everybody who had a hand, all of the wonderful audience members, folks who hit their folks in group chats and text messages saying, hey, y'all better get here. We can't wait to see you tomorrow, 12 to 6 Eastern. Same channel, same bad channel, same bad time. Take care, y'all.